You may have heard that you can slice an image for the web, but you may not know really what slicing does or when it makes sense to slice up an image. Well, what slicing does is to divide an image, whether it's an entire web page comp like this one or a smaller web graphic, into multiple areas so that each area can be saved out of Photoshop as a separate file, a separate JPEG or GIF or PNG. Well, why would you want to divide an image into separate files like that? One reason to slice is if you think that different areas of the image are likely to optimize best with different optimization settings. For example, in this web page comp, it's fair to assume that the photographs here and here and here will optimize best in the JPEG format, and that the logo up here, which is made up of flat art, will optimize best in the GIF format. So I'd need to slice all those areas separately so that I can optimize them in different formats. Even if I'm going to use the same format on two areas, I may want to slice each one. So for example, this area here could optimize best as JPEG, but it probably won't need as high a quality as I'll give to the JPEGs that are these photographs. So that's another area that should be sliced, an area that's likely to optimize best with different optimization settings from other areas here. Another reason to slice is if you want to add links to elements in an image, and the perfect example is buttons. In this case, each of these buttons will eventually get a link to a separate web page. In order to do that, each of these buttons would have to be a separate image. So I'm going to slice these buttons in Photoshop, save them out as separate GIFs or PNGs, and then add unique links to each button in Dreamweaver or another site-building program. And the last good reason to slice a comp like this is if I want to animate part of it. So let's say that I want this purple box with the word surfboards to fade in as a GIF animation. In order to program it to animate like that, I need to add a slice around this area so that the animation doesn't affect the rest of the composition. So those are the reasons to slice. If none of those reasons apply, then I don't suggest you just get out the slicing tool and start cutting an image up on the hopes that it's going to load faster in a viewer's browser, because that really isn't predictable. So that's why to slice. Now, what do slices look like? I've already added some slices to this image, so I'm going to make them visible so you can see them for yourself. I'm going to go to the View menu and down to Show and down to Slices. So if you ever want to hide your slices temporarily or show them again, this is where you go. Each one of these rectangles that you see superimposed over the image is a slice. And when I save this image, each of these sliced areas will be saved out as a separate JPEG, GIF, or PNG. I could then bring the individual JPEGs and GIFs and PNGs into Dreamweaver, where they could be added one at a time to a web page there, or I could have Photoshop save out not only the individual image files, but also some HTML code that will take all of the separate sliced images and reassemble them into a composition just like this when viewed in a web browser. So that's an overview of what slices are and why you would want to slice. In the rest of this chapter, I'm going to show you how to slice an image in Photoshop.